Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the RotoWire hashtag After Dark Champions League show. My name is Jack Burkart. You can find me on Twitter. I am joined to break down the UCL Leg 2 quarterfinals, as usual, with Ryan Belongia. Ryan, before we get into that, I had to ask you about the Arsenal. It's a shame what happened this weekend with the loss to Villa. Liverpool lost as well. It feels like City are taking the league. They're going to be taking the league on at this point. Had to be frustrating and a scary leg on Wednesday too.
Man, what a way to start the show. I mean, come on. Like we could have saved that for tomorrow. I was starting to get back in a good mood, but yeah, it's depressing. I mean, just Emery owns Arsenal. Yeah, that was just, and with what happened against Bayern a few days ago and now traveling to Munich this week, it's one of those things where Arsenal season can end in the span of 3 or 4 days. I feel like it's happened in the past with Arsenal. Like such a great season and it all comes crashing down. And a couple of days, hopes were so high. Just 4 or 5 days ago, Arsenal are going to win the league and might win the Champions League, at least in the running for it. And you might be out of both competitions within less than a week. So I don't know. Hope's not lost, but it's as an Arsenal fan, sort of a typical result when your hopes get the highest.
Yeah, well, at least you're not a Liverpool fan. I found Aston Villa were huge, massive underdogs. I know it's a way to Arsenal, but I mean, come on, like Aston Villa, in my opinion, are something of a serious team. So like when I saw they're 8% to win, I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, I'm not surprised that Villa could get a result. They have the talent. I was more surprised by Liverpool laying an egg at home to Crystal Palace. But I mean, what a massive day for the title race. Manchester City crushed Luton at the end, and it seems like it's theirs to take.
Yeah.
But Ryan, I don't want to torture you with your
the last thing about like Villa is a serious team with some serious players and a great manager. What stood out to me in that game was when it was 0-0, like the last 20 minutes was Villa in control, not Arsenal. So I mean the result, can't really complain about it. You would have expected Arsenal to be still the one dominating late in the game, trying to win, but it wasn't like that. That Villa team is legit.
Yeah, well, it's the gift, the Unai masterclass, because he's got that masterclass.
He does.
Deal. Always too funny. But anyway, Ryan, I just had to torture you. I'm sorry. But time to get into this UCL 2-gamer. We have it on the cheat sheet right now, rotowire.com/soccer trial if you're not already a member. If you are and you want to help support the show, hit the like button, do all the engagement stuff that helps our channel out, helps us grow. But we have 2 basic toss-ups, and I think this is going to be a pretty exciting slate. All teams have everything to play for, and things set up for potentially back-and-forth fixtures. So Barcelona is hosting PSG in a fixture that had 5 goals, and Barcelona is up 1 goal at home. So they're slight favorites, and you kind of have to fancy them at the spots. I don't know. PSG are such a frustrating team. It seems like morale might be a little bit low over there if you kind of like a take like that. But it should be a really exciting tie. Terrific players on both sides. I mean, Mbappe is always a good play, and he's only 9,200 in a game where they have to chase. So that's going to be, I think, one where we're going to be mining a lot of our DFS value. Like PSG are slight dogs, but they have about the same goal total as home favorites, Borussia Dortmund against Atletico Madrid. Madrid have a 2-1 advantage in that tie, and you imagine that it's going to just be a full-on Simeone masterclass defending. Might be good for Dortmund floors if you can find the right spots. And it makes me wonder a little bit about Antoine Griezmann, who's normally someone I click on these slates, Ryan. And, he's at 9,500, but the script is just awful for Griezmann. He kind of depends on set pieces enough as it is. So I think the games are going to be terrific. Slate prices went down a little bit, but I still find it a little bit tough. Ryan, what are you thinking opening this one up for the first time?
Well, I got to be honest. I did just open it for the first time a couple minutes ago when this podcast started. We were grinding baseball. Got a late start. It was busy today, grinding baseball sort of right up until lock there. But yeah, I had some of the same thoughts as you. Like, it's a tricky slate. PSG, they didn't look great at home to Barca, really. I know they got some goals, but once they went down, they didn't create many chances. I thought Barca were the better team. Now Barca are at home. Highest total. Like, do you want to just you mentioned Griezmann. I don't think he's a must, like based on everything you said. So first thought is like, do you want to just play Rafinha and Gundogan? Both were rested over the weekend. Both have good floors in this spot, good upside in this spot, highest total. I see Rafinha's priced up to 10-2. So I don't think that's a must, but you look around to the rest of the slate and you get to Dortmund, who are down 1, and you think, okay, let's get Dortmund sets, and it's Julian Brandt, who's 8K. And I don't know that that's a priority either. I mean, he's fine, but we talk about it every slate that he's on. He just doesn't really, doesn't really do it often enough. He gets subbed a lot. He scores under 10 points pretty often. He plays under 75 minutes pretty often, almost like basically never goes more than 75 minutes. I shouldn't say never, but I don't know, maybe in this spot it's different and if he's playing well, but still, like, for 8K, that's not a bargain on Brandt. And then on the PSG side, I think morale is low. I think, Mbappe's leaving. Interesting spot with Mbappe. He's 9,200. I think you kind of have too. We've sort of touted him on most every slate this season.
I'm so down bad to killing Mbappe this UCL season.
I don't think anyone's lost me more money than Mbappe. I mean, he was the worst play on the slate by a mile a week ago. I mean, there were so many goals on that slate. Everyone went off. Might get an ownership discount here, with PSG on the road and just not in the greatest of form. I mean, he's not going to be low owned or anything. But just in general, there's not a lot of, like, who are you dying to play, I guess, or who are you like, you just have to play these guys. I mean, the Barca set piece takers, I guess we have for PSG, Hakimi's back, which is interesting. He's been taking a few corners here and there. He took a few corners over the weekend. Depending on PSG's lineup, he may take some corners again. He's pretty cheapish. He's the same price as Cancelo, who's cheapish too. So defender's kind of interesting. If you feel like you're going to want to have one of those guys, maybe two, but I do feel like you might want to have one of those guys. Usually both are over 6K. Let's see what else. Fulkrug seems kind of cheap for, I think, a Dortmund that, as long as the game stays 0-0, they're going to be the team that I would think creates more chances. And Sebastian Haller's out, so you might get some more minutes from Fulkrug. He's been pretty cold lately, but his price tag's down.
Yeah, I think those are all interesting points. Ryan, one of the first things that struck me when I opened, I saw that Fulkrug was 5,900 and Morata is 6,500. I mean, it's probably a better floor spot, you would think, quote unquote floor spot for Fulkrug because he has to chase the game. But it seems like there's some like good GPP type of options, right? I'm not going to come out here and be like, play Nicholas Fulkrug in cash. I don't know, maybe it'll work. We're still figuring it out. This slate hasn't been out very long, but I mean, who am I dying to play? I kind of told you earlier, I'm like, pricing's a little soft. Some people got priced down, but then I look at it more. It's like, I'm not dying to play Mbappe at 9,200. I'll probably just keep on keeping on with him because I can't lose forever in theory. That's in theory. I'm a mathematician, so we'll see how the applied math works out there. You want to play Barcelona guys, but when they have a slight lead, you kind of want to have PSG guys on the other side. I don't know. It's tricky. Everyone that you want to play is like very expensive, and then you're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, and then you're looking at, might not be able to afford Hakimi, might not be able, might not be able to afford Cancelo. So I think the salary does actually present some interesting dilemmas for us to break down. So why don't we dig into forward first as I pull up the forward tab on the cheat sheet. I mentioned Griezmann, and I don't think he's a must. I mean, he'll take most of the set pieces and penalties, but it's not a good script for him whatsoever, and the opportunity cost is huge. You have Mbappe nearby who's chasing the game, and you have Rafinha who's just 700 more. Rafinha was rested over the weekend, Ryan, and that just makes me tempted to say, look, you're going to get 75 minutes of Rafinha. He's in better form right now. Kind of had a scary spot. He wasn't doing too well 2 months ago, but he seems to have settled in. He's playing with Yamal now. He's probably one of the top plays, though Ousmane Dembele also looks interesting at 8,700, especially if it's this lineup that we have with no Kang in, because that would mean that he takes some set pieces. So I would rate my three top plays as Mbappe, Rafinha, and Dembele. How do you see the position, Ryan? You're on mute.
Sorry, I see it similarly. I'm trying to think for cash. If Griezmann is still the second guy in, like he's got to be. Yeah, I don't know. So they're both of these are still 1-goal games. So Dortmund needs one. Dortmund scores 1 goal, and it becomes a fine spot for Griezmann. If Mbappe scores, it becomes a good spot for the Barca guys, Gundogan and Rafinha. I would still kind of lean towards Griezmann as in cash. I don't know. It's a really tricky slate. I mean, you can go either way, but the PSG, like, I don't know. You can always play Mbappe. We say that all the time, but like he just doesn't, I don't know, stand out as a cash play. And then, yeah, Dembele would look good in certain lineups, but still worried about the minutes, and they have like five attackers on the bench and guys who take set pieces, Kang and Asensio, and yeah, so he's fine, but Griezmann still feels safer to me. I don't want to like underrate Griezmann. Forwards kind of weak, I guess, and not weak. I mean, they're all good players, but none that you're like really excited to jam. I agree. Like Rafinha seems like the best, but he is priced up to 10-2. I like, that he was rested over the weekend, like you said, but he still probably only plays, 75-ish minutes most of the time with their bench too. They're all healthy now. So it's tough. I don't know. I don't know if there's a right answer.
Yeah, I think maybe the answer is you probably want to consider taking 2 of those guys that we've mentioned, but they're all pretty close, and they all have some things going for them. Like Mbappe, he has an elite shot floor, but he doesn't have set pieces. Griezmann has set pieces, but the matchup isn't so good to open the game. Dembele has the bench risks that you mentioned, so no one feels like a really clean option.
Maybe you can fade one and play an expensive defender or two. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Well, then you have to play a cheap forward, Ryan. So who do you think you would like for a less expensive option?
I mean, I'm fine with going right back to Sancho. They priced him up to 6,700. He didn't play over the weekend with some type of illness. Manager said Jadon's healthy again and will be in the squad. To me, I think that's more likely than not 90 minutes still. And yeah, Dortmund need to score, and he's been their best player recently. Probably is their best player. Yeah, I don't know. I could go to Sancho. I don't, and then Yamal, I guess, would be the other guy you're considering.
I pulled up his page on the YouTube channel right now, but
I didn't have it up.
I'm noticing some minutes lately.
Yeah, look at that. Look at those minutes. Yeah, I mean that's something, right? And Barca have Ferran on the bench and João Felix and Pedri back, and also they're defending a lead. So I mean, I'm not jumping to play Yamal either. I don't know. I kind of like Sancho, I guess.
I think that makes a lot of sense, Sancho, because you just save a little bit of salary, and the punts don't seem that great. I mean, I think maybe you can just play a cheap defender. Maybe it doesn't seem so bad. I don't know. Are there any midfield punts that we have to play? I mean, I know we usually just discuss forward first, but I remember looking at midfield like, I don't know. There's no one who's screaming off the page. Well, maybe Rodrigo de Paul, who you told me would never score again in his life last week, Ryan, and then
man,
scores one instantly.
Oh man, that was just brutal.
I only played like 2 lineups. I wasn't going to make it down to de Paul, but
that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah, maybe maybe the punts are best at the forward position, Ryan, and so you just take the value where you can, and then you maybe try to stack slightly better players in the other positions. I think that's a pretty fair point. Maybe just a quick turn. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Kind of seems that way to me. I mean, we tried to poke holes in all these expensive guys, so they can't be like that great.
Yeah. And if there's not like, this $3,500 guy is going to take set pieces and play 70 minutes, like that doesn't appear to happen on the slate.
No, the punt mids don't seem great.
And then, you want to play some fullbacks. Like we mentioned, Hakimi and Cancelo, guys with ceiling, guy was with floor. I guess Molina, I don't know, Molina kind of seems like a fake floor play. Maybe he takes a corner there. I'm kind of seeing the merits of that construction as we talk it through. I mean, if we like this construction, though, it should make tournaments pretty straightforward. I mean, Fulkrug 5,900, Morata 6,500. I don't know how many minutes Bradley Barcola will be playing, but 5,400. That's just so cheap, and you're going to be able to afford good defenders if you take that sort of construction. Guys who can score a goal, and the other forwards are expensive. I think the construction kind of explains itself. You just hope that none of the expensive guys absolutely windmill dunk on you.
Yep.
And even then, you can play one. So you just have to hope that two of them don't completely windmill dunk. Any other takes about the forward position, Ryan? I mean, it's a 2-game slate, so we could mention everyone. I mean, I could say you could play Malin, you could play Lewandowski, guys who we didn't say. Just a little bit expensive and maybe hard to get to. Lewandowski especially.
I just noticed that Lino is out. So what does that mean? What's going to happen for? They have Azpilicueta taking Lino's spot. Wow.
What about Riquelme? Hasn't he been playing well for Atletico?
Yeah, I can't see Aspi starting there unless they're just trying to park the bus. But I didn't see who. Let me see.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of crazy, actually. Yeah, this is if Atletico Madrid come out with this lineup, they do not intend to possess the ball for 55% of the match. They are going to defend as they're very well capable of. I don't know. I'm looking at other lineups as well, like Reinildo might start there. I don't know. People projecting pretty defensive lineups.
Okay. Yeah, it could be Riquelme. It could be. I mean, Azpilicueta and Reinildo are like both 3K each. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess pay attention to the. I was just expecting Lino to start, so that opens up some minutes and maybe some value, maybe a trap.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. In cash games, there needs to be some salary savings somewhere. So if it has to be,
right,
Azpilicueta and a second defender or in a utility spot, I think that's
seems fine. Yeah,
just get your 3 points and hope he doesn't get a yellow card. I mean, good play.
I went to look at Lino to mention him as a play because he's been smashing and he's 6,600 and he looks like Atletico's most dangerous player like almost every game I watch. But yeah, that's kind of a big loss.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was talking to Hesh last week before the slate. He's like, I kind of want to play Lino. I'm like, I do too, actually. And I almost played him in cash. I thought about playing all the guys who did really well in cash. And then instead I just played bad players. Mbappe, yeah. I played Mbappe. I think I played Asensio. I'm an idiot. No one should listen to my advice. I'm like, maybe I'll take set pieces. Maybe PSG are good. They're at home. Yeah. 2 gamers are brutal, Ryan. But yeah, I think that's a good take on the forward position. We've already talked about midfield a little bit. Ryan, you're not as enthusiastic about Julian Brandt, but the game environment and the role are there. So even if he plays only 70 minutes, if he is taking most of the set pieces and Atletico Madrid are allowing Dortmund to hold on to the ball, I don't think it's unreasonable to project a 10, 11 point floor for Julian Brandt. Not going to call it preloaded for the reasons that you say, but all the heuristics suggest that it's a pretty good play. He's just a tough name to click and certainly not a must. But Ryan, I think you have to spend your money somewhere and the punts aren't very good. I feel a ton of ownership is going to get funneled into Ilkay Gundogan in both GPPs and tournaments. People are probably going to play forward eligible players at the midfield. I think we said that last time. It's kind of a weak position overall. I mean, with the 3 most expensive midfield options only being Brandt, Gundogan, and a $6,400 Vitinha, who is one of the toughest players to predict in DFS. I don't know. It's not inspiring very much. So I don't know. What's your take on the midfield position overall?
Yeah, I think you probably just have to play Brandt in cash at least. For the reasons you said. The rest of the position is weak. Forward is kind of weak. And yeah, I think you want the guy taking set pieces for the home team that needs to attack and needs to score. I wouldn't play him over Gundo in cash. I think Gundogan's probably the first guy in for 300 cheaper. And, you're pretty sure he's going to play 90 minutes. But yeah, I think you can afford both. There's not there's not really value. I don't see much for value on this slate.
No, there isn't really much. I think Marcel Sabitzer is a good player at 5,400. He may take a set piece or two. That's not an egregious price by any means. So if you click that name, I could see it. But then from there, these are not names I'm looking to click, especially in cash games. Rodrigo De Paul at 5K. I don't know. He's still the same player. He did well the other day, but game script is worse now, and he's not terribly consistent. Then you go through. I mean, I know last week you had some good things to say about Fabian Ruiz. I don't think I want to play Frankie De Jong in this game script. Llorente again, Zaire Emery. It's really scraping the bottom of the barrel, and none of these guys look particularly enticing. So I think all the more that's going to perhaps make Julian Brandt's ownership a little bit higher in all formats. It's going to make Gundogan's ownership a little bit higher in all formats. I don't know. Do you have any more slightly optimistic take on the cheaper midfielders, Ryan?
Sabitzer is the guy I have the most interest in. Yeah, I don't know. You always talk about him, but he had a brace over the weekend. Big win for Dortmund on the road. Just a really good player that has goals in him. I mean, he plays defensive, but he gets forward enough, and just, the rest of the position isn't great, so don't mind him.
Yeah, I don't think I want to. If I'm spending less than that at a midfield spot, I have to. I don't know. Something's materially changed about the slate. Although maybe Fabian Ruiz is okay, Ryan, at 4,600. You meant you were okay in his outlook depending on the lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't look like the best spot if this is the starting lineup. A midfield of Zaire, Emery, Ruiz, and Vitinha. And then you have Nuno Mendes and Hakimi.
Yeah, I don't really want to play him anyways, just away to Barca. It's not a good spot, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my watermelon brain was like, they're pushing. But
no, I mean, it's fine. They do have to. He could be fine.
Yeah. He could be fine. That is I think the 5K, that is the 5K and below range midfielders summed up in a nutshell. They could be okay, but
he lucked into an assist last week.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to luck into an assist. Maybe that's the case for playing Rodrigo De Paul. We got Tile Guy 88 in the chat. I took Coca over De Paul. It was pretty sad. I feel your pain, man. It was a tough goal last week. But let's just move on to the defender position. Ryan, you mentioned the expensive players. Cancelo and Hakimi look really appealing to you. I thought one of the best plays to me looked like Nuno Mendes at 4,300 in this game script. I know his game logs haven't looked too good this year, but he played a full 90 minutes. I hope he's got some better fitness under his belt. Like, it was scary when he came back earlier in the season, or maybe this was this might have been over like World Cup or something. I just remember coming back too soon from a hamstring injury, and it looked awful. So I always worry about injuries with Nuno Mendes. But if he's fit for 90, he's very much an attacking player. And it's a great game script for him, and it's a way to save a little bit of money. But yeah, maybe Cancelo and Hakimi aren't just worth the extra salary. And there's names we haven't mentioned as well. I mean, Maatsen, more of a GPP play. I already kind of made fun of Molina, so you can chalk him up for a stupid goal at some point because that's how these things go. But, everyone priced 4K and above, Ryan. What are you seeing at defender? Seems we're flush with options.
Yeah, we are. I think I expected Cancelo and Hakimi to be closer to 6K. I wouldn't have been surprised if Cancelo was over 6K. I don't know. I think I would want to play one of those guys, maybe even both of those guys. That game could get back and forth. Can we make up with cheaper value? Or like fade one of those guys for some cheaper value? Mendes, yeah, he worries me, but he is a good player. I see it. I think I'd rather play Ryerson. I don't know. They feel like similar options. I feel better about the spot for Dortmund. I think they have about the same floor, and I don't know, maybe Ryerson maybe even has more upside. So I don't know. I would rather play Ryerson. I mean, I don't think it's a great spot for these PSG guys. Like, I know they need to push, but that's easier said than done. They couldn't really push that well at home in the last leg. I don't know. mentioned that there might be an Atletico wingback for, I mean, Azpilicueta's 3,200 and Reynildo's 2,800. You could definitely play either of those guys at that price. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Do you want to play a center back on this slate? Doesn't really seem necessary to me, but maybe. I don't know, Jack. I haven't really looked into it enough. Can you punt one defender spot? I don't know.
I think you can, especially if you're going to be paying. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the construction. You have an expensive forward, Sancho, Brandt, Gundogan. You just might have to punt somewhere, even if it's like a third spot. Play like Ryerson, Cancelo, and then I don't know. You're going to need to spend down at some point, and there's no like $3,200 goalkeeper who we can click. I kind of want to go back to Ryerson because I've always felt like, oh, this is like an attacking player. I'm looking at his game logs though, and nothing's like particularly inspiring. He has a game where he scored a goal on March 30th, but it's just like a lot of like 6-point floors here. And I don't know. It's tough. It's a tougher name for me to click. A lot of times Ryerson's like 3,400, Ryan, and now he's 1,000 more. He did score 7.6 floor points against Madrid in the reverse fixture though, while they were chasing the game. So maybe that's just a little bit of a hint where if game script is good, he is capable of that.
I feel like I've had this same conversation in my head many times too. Unfortunately, I just don't really know. Like, I haven't watched Bayern enough. Dortmund enough. I haven't really watched Dortmund's enough. Two things. During the last game, whoever the commentator was mentioned how good of an attacking threat Ryerson was like 2 or 3 times. It was just funny to me. I was thinking of that. The other thing is he's got 4 goals in 17 starts. That's not bad. So he doesn't maybe have a floor, but he does get into attacking positions and can score a goal or an assist. But yeah, I'm not like excited about it. I would like to play Hakimi or Cancelo.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But with 4 goals, maybe that's the upside. And then you get the announcer bounce. Like those guys are. Those guys are never.
I think it was. What's his name too? Oh, I'm blanking on his name. The guy with the great voice, Ray Hudson. I think that's who it was.
Oh, Ray Hudson was on that. Oh, he's
I believe so.
Ryan, we're very efficient today, so I can do an aside here. I was so disappointed that Ray Hudson was not commentating the Real Madrid game because he just would have been incredible. I think he might have died watching that Fede Valverde goal. I just imagine after that pass, he's probably so screeching for 3 seconds.
You're so right. That was a disservice, actually. Jack, I've gotten messages from multiple people throughout this Champions League just randomly saying, who is this guy announcing so-and-so game? Because he's ridiculous and so passionate and comes up with sayings and says things that you would never hear anybody else say. Yeah, he would have been perfect for that game. You're right. I forgot about that.
I think they put him on the PSG game because he's always, with more of the star power, but smooth as the back of a spoon. And I don't know. I like him because he's English announcers. They're so boring. Go watch the English announcers talk about Fede Valverde's goal. It's oh, what a goal, Fede Valverde. And then watch the French commentary. The French people are screaming during that entire thing.
Right.
And I could only imagine that whoever was broadcasting in Mexico probably had an incredible call for that. Why are English announcers so boring? Ray Hudson gives a little bit of joy, and I like how he's effusive with praise for all players. I mean, he's never going to say anyone's bad.
It really is. I like how this. I like this tangent. When I first started watching soccer 20 years ago now in college, Ray Hudson was doing games then, and my friends and I we couldn't believe it. Really, it's just he's a bit outrageous, and he's great for the game. Yeah. Messi too. You hear him on all those crazy Messi highlights. Because just basically, having a heart attack in his chair. But it's fun to listen to.
He's screaming and moaning while he's winding up. The medicine man, Lionel Messi. I think what is this? He's sunk his flaming spear into the chest of Real Madrid supporters back in that iconic holding.
Right.
It's
awesome
incredible
stuff.
Anyways, defender. A pretty good breakdown. Ryan, maybe one thing I want to ask you is like, I think one thing we disagree on is that PSG, you think this is a weak spot for PSG, and I understand, but the game script is so good. So do you think that this is like a talent issue? Are you bullish on Barcelona? Is there like some type of, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of dig into that a little bit more because I was surprised to see you down on maybe like cheaper PSG players. I'm just thinking in terms of
Okay.
game script.
It's really just, I think you're right in terms of game script. I was really disappointed in PSG's performance last time out against Barca. I know they scored 2 goals, but once they went down, I was expecting them to create more chances and like better chances, and they just didn't. And I don't know. I think the Barca team's gotten better recently. That midfield three of Frankie De Jong, Pedri, Gundogan looks really solid. It's better than having like a Christensen in there, or they were having to play young guys for a while this season. And I think it's fine, Jack, but this PSG team just isn't great. I don't know. From what I've seen, they just underwhelm. I don't know. It's a fine spot, yeah, because they need to chase, and maybe I'm underrating it a little bit, but I'm just disappointed in PSG. I don't know. Maybe I'm too down on them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've been trying to hammer these PSG spots and I have yet to be rewarded. So I share your frustration. And this happens in interleague too. It's like, oh, 80% PSG to win against like Claremont or something. Then they like it's 1-1. You're like, come on, like what are it sometimes I just don't feel like a particularly serious team.
And then the other thing, wait, it is a 1-goal deficit, right? Barca PSG, both games. Yeah, okay. The other thing is, and like if Mbappe scores or if someone on PSG scores, then it almost becomes like a horrible spot for PSG, at least in terms of floor. Maybe that's not the correct way to think, but I don't know. Like I think there could be goals in this game for PSG, but I'm not overly excited about the floors.
I think that's a sensible take. They score one and then Barcelona start to throttle. Maybe they're playing a little bit more, trying to whip them on the counter or something. I think that's fair. I think.
But then I should also say I'm not really confident that I know how the game's going to go either. These spots are weird where, it's Barca at home, but also defending a lead. So, yeah, sometimes it can go either way where, like, you could look really stupid tomorrow and PSG comes out and dominates and does have a floor. They are capable of that. So I don't want to rule that out.
Yeah. I mean, both matches are a toss-up. So if you feel really confident, why are you playing DFS when, Pinnacle will take huge bets from you or something like this? So I share a lot of your concerns. I think they go two ways. So I think maybe the main takeaway of that is really map out how these slates go. Like you probably cannot play Mbappe without playing several Barcelona players behind him, like just based on that sort of observation. So I think that's all good to think about. I think we talked about expensive defenders. Some cheap ones might show up that you should be on the lookout for. Like we said, I mean, Azpilicueta, fine at 3,200. Dude has to be like 39 at this point. But, Pepe is still getting it done at the ripe age of 42. So who knows? So just be on the lookout for a cheap punt there. I think that would be fine. And, there's not really elite forward. There's no punt forward, really. Everyone's like 5K and above. So I wouldn't call anyone a punt. The punt midfielders are bad. I think that means that the punt defenders are the way to go. Might be playing 3 defenders on the slate, Ryan, because I'd rather play all of these defenders than their midfield counterparts. So one more last thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think 3 defenders is in play.
Yeah, feels rare, but happens sometimes. Let's go to goalkeeper. We have a $600 spread in all of the goalkeepers. I truly think, we just said it's tough to predict how these games are going to go. Truly play whoever you want spots. I don't know. I want to play Jan Oblak at 4,500. He's likely to get some saves. Atletico Madrid are a good team. Oblak, I'm pretty sure, is a talented goalkeeper. However, we evaluate that. Why not? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, you play whoever you want slate. Oblak probably has the most upside. Ter Stegen has some upside defending a lead. I like Ter Stegen on teams that are on lineups where I don't play Mbappe. I would probably try to play him because, if Mbappe doesn't score or PSG don't score, they're clearly going to be shooting all game. I don't know. It's play whoever you want, Slate.
Yeah.
I guess no different than any other one, but yeah. Just for sure, Ter Stegen captains and showdown.
You play 2 floor guys. Hope he gets some shots. Ooh, that's something. Might have to play some showdown on Tuesday, Ryan. There's a lot of overlay usually in those streets. So yeah, I think good takes all around.
Could play Donnarumma. I don't mind playing Donnarumma with Mbappe and playing Barca guys too, though. I mean, there's also there's a pretty good chance that no keepers keep a clean sheet. Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. This one feels like a real crapshoot because if no keepers keep a clean sheet and then you play Kobel, I don't think you're screwed because it's only $600. Right. So it's not making a market difference on the construction. So yeah, as usual, it's a goalkeeper. So good luck.
Kind of worry about Kobel's save upside. I
Doesn't
think
seem very high.
More so than all the other keepers. I think I would worry about his, especially now that we're going to see maybe a more defensive Madrid lineup. So, yeah.
I don't know, like how popular is Griezmann? How popular is Morata going to be? Then you say, oh, well, maybe you're getting like a 15% favored goalkeeper at home in a 2-game slate. Everyone has to play a goalkeeper. I don't know. I'm not going to.
I mean, the argument for Kobel, I'll play some Kobel too. I mean, the argument for Kobel is he's probably got the best chance at a clean sheet. I don't know what the odds say. Yeah, I mean, I think he does. So yeah, I can play Kobel too.
Yeah, truly play whoever you want. Ryan, that's a tight 37 minutes. We even got a wax about Ray Hudson for 3 minutes in there, but I think we covered a lot. Pretty familiar with these teams at this point. Got a good. I mean, they're both really close games. The forward position is probably going to be the most important thing to get right, I think. And then there's not as many choices in defenders. So that's probably going to be where I'm going to spend most of my time. And if you have questions and you want to chop up the slate, you can join us in our Discord, rotowire.com/chat. Always people willing to talk about games, tinker via 2v2s and 3v3s and stuff. Ryan, any last words for the people?
I don't think we mentioned Daniel Malin, who should be back for Dortmund.
8,300.
Yeah, had been scoring and takes more shots than any other Dortmund player, at least from what I've seen and from what the recent numbers show. And I don't think really people are going to play him too much. So it seems like a decent GPP option. I like all the Dortmund attackers for tournaments.
I think you can play him in a midfield spot too. So just take your cash lineup and then take out Brandt, throw in Malin, throw it in the scissor kick. Time to win.
Yeah, print.
I think I just gave it away. But if you're listening at this point, thank you very much. You deserve a winner like that. But on behalf of Ryan and I, good luck on the slate. And we will be back tomorrow for what I think will be the last After Dark show, Ryan. I think this is the last 2 gamers. So we'll have to put on suits and drink some wine or something.
It's been fun. Yeah, maybe we'll have there might be another one. I mean, we got the semifinals and the final.
I think it's showdown.
Yeah, but I think we've done pods for the Champions League final before. Maybe we'll cook one up this year too.
Yeah, we'll cook up a final. We'll cook up something fun for that. So sure. This is not the last After Dark show.
This can't be the last one,
Second to last. This can't be the last second to last one. All right, love it. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Good luck, everybody.